we had more garbage than usual this weekend to swim through. I was interested to see what you would pick. I picked the obvious thing where it's like the two lawmakers in Minnesota were assassinated. Was this Friday night? Saturday morning? Something like that.
Saturday early morning.
Yeah.
I believe.
But I don't really care about the focus of that story necessarily. I more have questions that spurn off of what happened there, which is an absolute travesty. And jeez, I don't. Last I saw, they haven't caught this guy. We hope they do. What an absolute shitbag. But anyways, I more just wanted to explore the idea of living in a world where disagreements over opinions and like politics motivate someone to actually murder someone. Like, how do we think this guy or any person, because it feels like in the internet age you see this all the time, especially me and you diving into the craziest corners. How do we get to a point with any person where they think a disagreement over an opinion or just politics is enough to think that there's some existential threat to society and want to murder them? That's so crazy to me, man. You feel like all of us... No, I shouldn't say that, but you'd hope that all of us grow up with some sort of teachings of, especially including history, not just blanket hating other people because of, like, what they look like, but also, like, what they think, right? As long as they're not some sort of, like, physical or material threat. If you just have disagreements over opinions, you would hope that, sure, get mad all you want, but you would hope it would end at that verbal level. Like, what makes people like this think that these people needed to be murdered? Any thoughts at all? Like, at all? It just leaves me pretty baffled, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me.
That someone gets there in this day and age?
Not even in this day and age, ever. I mean, it's...
Yo, that's such a good point.
Easier, I think, even so these days. Because you're just so plugged into... If you choose to be, if your attention gets drawn towards it, and if you're engaging in, like, algorithm-driven media, it's very easy to get to a weird place with...
That's true.
Your opinions, and you can dive into, like, dude, I don't know if you've ever watched One American News Network or any of those offshoots during the 2020
Newsmax
election cycle. Newsmax, oh my god, doesn't surprise me at all, right? And again, it's I forget who it is. I think it's Bill Burr who has a joke, or maybe it's Louis C.K. Regardless, he has a joke of like, well, how do people get so, people asking about how people get so upset about abortion. But if you look at from their perspective, babies are literally being murdered. So it really is all just how you understand the world to be. This guy clearly thought this was such a dire threat that he had to take physical action against these people.
It's just so fascinating to me how someone gets there.
Yeah.
Maybe I could look into that more with people that have already been studied based on what they've done similarly in the past or whatever. But like,
sure, Ted Kaczynski.
Like what? I don't, and I'm not religious, so it's super hard for me to get even into that mindset. But you always try, right? And you're just like, I don't understand, like, to murder someone. I mean, even the religion that we grew up in, there still was "Thou shalt not kill," right? So the idea that anybody could have some sort of politics or opinion that you disagree with and they need to be killed as if there's some threat. It's just crazy how you get there, man. It's super scary. Definitely super scary. It's not some widespread thing, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely super scary because considering the let's look at the lawmakers that were shot here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these aren't people that are, like, you may not align with them politically, but you're so distraught by their actions or how you perceive their actions that you think that they're just an existential threat and they have to be removed. Like, what did these? And to be fair, I'm not familiar with either of these laws. They're state lawmakers, right? They're not federal Congress people. Okay.
No.
So I don't know what in particular they've done, but I can't imagine it's anything more than just like
legalizing weed. Like, who gives a fuck?
Right,
man? Like,
making school
doing?
lunches accessible, or
oh no, feed the children. That's terrible.
But
like some people feel that way, and it's weird, man.
I know. Well, they're clearly zeroed in on something that's way more inflammatory, or at least so they perceive, right? Like I don't know exactly. Apparently, this guy left a manifesto. I don't know that they've released anything about it.
Right.
But I would imagine, if I were to guess what this guy's perceived motivations were, it would either be abortion or it would be something race-related, i.e.,
sure,
Democrats are letting the great replacement happen, right? It's going to be something to either of those effects, if I were to guess.
Yeah, and another thing is, something you said made me think of this. It doesn't matter what party these people belong to or what opinions any of these people had. The idea, again, that regardless of the opinion, you think that you should murder someone because there's some sort of threat is insane. Insane. And I just would almost love to interview someone who did something like this in a good faith setting somehow, even though they're fucking psychopaths. Just to like how?
But you would agree that something like this is necessary sometimes, right?
What?
Like, say you live under a totalitarian state and you're somebody who has an opportunity to get rid of a particular person that you think is actually doing great harm.
I will say that there are different I will say that there are different circumstances that are justified. Yes, there you go. That's a better word to use. Justified. Oh yeah. But this isn't one of them.
No, it's absolutely not. But obviously,
but the context does matter. That's a good point from you. It does matter, but the context here is
irredeemable for sure.
Yeah,
this is in our country as it exists. This is never justified. This is never.
And I guess that's a good point too, in the sense that like when I say your opinions or your politics, this is all verbal and like how you feel society should be run, and is in no way is it subtracting from anyone's freedoms, because that's kind of what you're talking about. Well, if you live in a totalitarian state, which obviously would subtract a lot of freedoms, then yeah, fuck them. Let's go, baby. Grab your pitchfork, because mine's out back, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's this, it's
what the founding fathers were. It's what the whole American Revolution was.
I know, dude. How many jokes I saw over this fucking weekend of like, and just recently, of like resistance to Trump being related to like, this country's never liked tyranny.
No kings. No
right?
kings, baby.
Well, and literally the way the protest was called. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But obviously,
it's a belief in something this man had enough to step to such lengths. Do you ever think to yourself, boy, I've never believed in something that much? Like, it's crazy to think that he believed in something so much that he was willing to basically like end his life. Not death probably, but life in prison. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it is in Minnesota. We'll see. But
this guy is,
that this life, the life is forever altered. It's over for all intents and purposes.
Yes,
so.
You are making a choice that will completely derail.
You ever think to yourself, I have never felt. I have never felt that.
Yeah.
Way. Again, to your point, a totalitarian state would make us have different conversations. But as far as our lives have been, what are we doing here? Like, you actually said to yourself, something is so bad that I will ruin my life. Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah. If anything, it's a testament to your conviction. Well, it's one of two things.
It's true,
right?
and I'm not trying to pump it up in a positive way at all, but it's true.
Definitely not.
It's not positive, but yeah, right. This guy's a dirtball and should be shot.
The other piece of it, the other piece of it is you're either you have a great deal of conviction, or you are so miserable about your own life that you find any sort of purpose to cling on to, and then you just kind of full send, which oftentimes those two positions overlap. Call it what it is. But yeah, no, this is This guy spends a lot of time online. It would be my guess. I don't know how you radicalize yourself in this way otherwise. I genuinely don't.
In this day and age, that's how you radicalize yourself. But I did like what you said some time ago in the conversation. That, dude, at any point, I get so tired of people thinking that, like, humanity now is unique compared to humanity then. Like, that's so stupid, no matter what you apply that to. So I liked what you said before, where it's like, this shit always has been happening. There's been political disagreements, and there's been tensions ratcheted up to the point where people who are fucking not well or just insanely convicted into something that, like, isn't even real, to the point where they'll take lives. Right. Yeah. That's always been a thing. I think the internet gasses it up, but we don't. Yes. Nobody should look at the internet as the beginning of a problem, just an exacerbation of a human problem. That is true, I think. So, but it's always been there. It's always been there. That's why I always fucking reject and hate people who do the, like, oh, this generation lazy, this generation that. It's just like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, so dumb, man. Every generation faces its own unique environment and this and that, and who gives a fucking shit? Like, it's all humanity, and this kind of stuff has always been happening. This is where, like, let me know what you think of this off the top of your head. When I was younger, I used to feel like there was and I still think there's a general progression to humanity, right? We're here sitting on our fucking computer in two different cities taping this god-awful shit that nobody listens to. But when I was younger, I used to think that there was more progress that was kind of being made with our generations. So in that way, I was a little biased. I wonder what you thought, or you were thinking when you were younger. And as I get older, I realize it's like the same shit always happens. You just make, like, incremental progress. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I mean, there is a bit of an exception to particularly our generation and our parents' generation, for sure.
Oh, no, you're doing the uniqueness of generation, which I don't like. So go ahead. What is that exception?
Okay, but it's objectively true that we were driving by horse and buggy 150 years ago and we landed on the moon 50 years ago. That's actually, real quick, right. If I could just say, that is actually a leap in progress, technology, and science that has not been seen in the entirety of human history. So go ahead.
The speed of the progress, I agree with you. But that horse and buggy time, if I transported you back to then and that's all you knew, you would say the same thing about the 150 years before you, right? No, so that's not unique to you. No, hang on. But that's true what I just said. Don't reject that. We're going to get hung up on that. The speed, I agree, is different. I agree with that. I don't know about exponential. Okay. But I absolutely do agree that the speed of it has massively increased. I think we both can at least say that and leave it at that. Like, I don't. All right. Okay, but it's also true that you go back 150 years. That person in that state of mind, if you said 150 years ago, they'd be like, "Oh, that's 150 years ago." They're like, everybody thinks of that as back ass word from when they are. That's true.
Okay, but that's easy when you're taking a frame of the last 500 years. Sure, there was also like 8,000 years of human history where literally life was exactly the same for the 10 generations.
That's true.
It was for the 10 generations after you. So
I agree, and it manifests itself.
There is a piece of uniqueness, but I genuinely speaking,
I like that, a piece of uniqueness. That's fair. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, to pretend that it's all been the same always is also a little
No, I just said every generation even is unique in the environment it faces, so that's fair.
Sure. That's fair. So, regardless, I don't know how we got off to the fucking.
Oh, we love the rabbit holes. Go ahead.
I don't even remember the greater point, if I'm being honest.
Oh, well.
Should we push through? Did you have more on this topic, or should we push through to?
No, I just I'm sure this will come up in the future, and we'll talk about it again. I just don't understand why people.
I totally agree.
Decide to do things that totally upend their life and even end other people's lives.
Yes.
Purely because of a disagreement of opinion or politics, which has nothing to do with, like, subtracting of freedoms. But that's where we'll leave it.
Well, I do also want to say, just in regards to this first topic, this should be the thing that had caught the most attention this weekend. And I think in a polite society, in a good democracy, democracy, this is something that all of us should take stock of.
Let's do
very
that real
seriously.
quick to end this. Sorry, one more thing to end this. Let's
No,
do that
go
real quick.
ahead, go
Where
ahead.
it's like,
Yeah.
didn't you, when you first heard this, didn't you feel a little chilled? Where when I first heard this, it was inside of a bunch of other news, obviously, because the weekend has been the garbage from hell, which it's all garbage.
A lot going on. There's a lot going on.
And I just felt like holy shit, like, I don't know. Is there anything else comparable where someone killed a state senator and a state representative in the last God knows how long in one shot over a political opinionated disagreement? It's just not America. It's not what. Well, I don't want to say it's not America because that's not true. We have a long history of that, but it's not the America that we've had in recent memory. Let's say. So I'd like to know like when the last time something on this scale where you kill literally. Well, I don't know if the senator died, but.
One has passed. The other
It's
seems
still
to
hanging
be on
on?
the mend.
Okay.
So one and her significant other and their dog all got gunned down.
No.
The other one, I believe it was a man and his significant other, and I believe they're both recovering.
Okay.
But I
So
could be wrong about that.
I just wonder again, dude, even if it's just one that died, an actual serving,
it's-
sitting
yeah.
state
Yes.
rep or state senator, when has that happened? Probably not too long ago. I was exaggerating a little bit when I started that, but like the point of it was, how did you feel? Did you feel like things could ratchet up, or did you just feel like it's another shooting that will just die down? And like, I kind of had a feeling that it might ratchet up over maybe not like weeks, but years. I don't know.
I do feel like pieces of this, and as far as I understand, this guy was MAGA. And if that is the case, as far as I understand, that's the case. There was a lot of shit floating around immediately after the shooting, which is always the case, and it's just chock full of misinformation.
You just gotta
wait, let the dust settle.
Wait and read Reuters. Holy shit, you could do a lot worse than that. So just do that.
Seriously, God bless. You know, actually, of all my actual news subscriptions, that's one of my few. Reuters, yeah. They did do a good job.
It's like
regardless,
3 paragraphs of like literally what actually is, and just done. But go ahead. Sorry.
I'm so sick of op-eds. It makes
Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a lot of just he was on a labor board, and he was working for Tim Walz, and actually he's a leftist, and these two representatives got killed because they voted against a pro-immigrant like Medicare bill for the state and blah blah blah, which most of that as far as I understand, all of that turned out to be just objectively false.
Okay, I didn't know any of that. Sure.
Yeah, I've been a little too plugged in this weekend for sure. Anyways.
Well, at least you brought us some wisdom. I was a little too plugged into golf this weekend. So, anyways. You did, we'll still sit on that move on that I did earlier on that. You did share, again, we said, you know, we called this thing It's All Garbage. This is such an apt weekend for it. You did share the Israel-Iran thing. So I'll let you go ahead and start just like the thoughts you had on that and where we want to go with that conversation. So go ahead, take it away. That was you.
Yes. Sorry, something was beeping by me. I don't know if you heard that.
Carbon monoxide. Folks, if you're hearing this, he's going to die.
I did get worried for a second. Am I doing that? This is a problem. So basically, I said I just wanted to have an open chat about the escalation. Obviously, Israel battered Iran, I think, Thursday night into Friday? Or Friday night into Saturday, however that goes.
Something in Iran.
Took out a lot of top Iranian, military leadership and scientists. Iran has kind of responded, and it seems that their stuff's a little less guided. They're kind of just shooting in the dark, and they're just hitting downtown Tel Aviv and parts of Jerusalem, some of the suburbs. But for a fact that Trump and his admin knew about this ahead of time. There's no way they didn't, right?
No.
Netanyahu,
They did.
there's a channel of communication between these
Yes.
two administrations often. And there's actually some reports coming out now that apparently Israel had a chance at assassinating sort of the, I forget the name of the position, I think the chief Ayatollah or whatever the leader of, and the Trump admin, basically told him no. And I don't know if that's because it was with the help of U.S. military or intelligence or whatever. So I guess some credit there, but clearly they greenlit Israel just lobbing missiles into
So
Iran.
if you believe that they can stop them, you definitely believe that they heard something about this. You know what I'm saying? Like
For
both
sure.
both, yeah.
100%.
If you believe the one,
I
you
don't
believe the other.
I don't think Israel does this unless the Trump admin says yes, okay. Like we will tolerate
I
this,
agree,
at the
because
least.
what you're doing is potentially inviting other countries into the mix as well. And if that does happen, you cannot do that without your strongest ally. Correct.
And it concerns me that we get more involved.
So,
especially since Iran is just lobbing missiles back and they're actually starting to do some real damage and scaring people of Israel now. So I don't.
So I unfortunately, and as always, want to hear what you think. I unfortunately think that the man who I saw getting sold by many different people, including himself, as the anti-war candidate last year that won, unfortunately, that same man, I think, would have less hesitation than any Republican or Democrat in recent memory that's more normie to just put boots on the ground. I don't think that there's going to be boots on the ground from the U.S. I don't. I think that even Trump, the most unshackled from, especially second-term Trump, the most unshackled president from giving a fuck about what people think in history, and also just unhinged, even he, doesn't matter who's around him. As long as there's people around him, they are involved in Republican politics, and they have to think about post-Trump politics as well. I think that is still enough for the most unshackled, complete smooth brain in history to not necessarily put boots on the ground. But I think that at the end of the day, second-term Trump doesn't give a shit, because I think he tried to play footsie with doing more than 2 terms, and I think he kind of found out early it's not going to happen, and systems will hold up at least against that. So like I think he's starting to not give a shit. So if he feels like to himself, I'm boys with Netanyahu, and he says put some boots on the ground, I think more than any other president he would actually do that. I'm not saying he's gonna, but it's not a great situation. I don't think that it's off the table with Trump, which sucks. Do you agree or no?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But I actually come at it from a different angle, because I don't think it's because he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, I mean about running another election, but go ahead.
Well, even that, I think his motivations aren't that he doesn't give a fuck because he won't run again. It's more if he thinks it will benefit opinions of him, like polls of him, that he would absolutely do it.
Where would that benefit him? Because the same man ran and you could make arguments he didn't, but in the corners that I saw, the same man ran as the anti-war candidate compared to Kamala last year. So, so that those two things don't make sense together. They don't make sense together. But he kind of splits the
difference too, right? Because he also, that's some of his rhetoric. Some other parts of his rhetoric include being a strong man, not being a pushover.
I agree. There's arguments
Americans.
that you can make, but there's no question that those things were said as far as being anti-war compared to Kamala. That is true. Now, again, arguments can be made, and that's fine. But the fact that there's actual quotes from himself about being anti-war, it's crazy that he would sit here and actually think that if I war, people will think better of me. I don't put it past him, though, so I don't even think you're all the way wrong. I don't put it past him.
Do you think, let me ask you this.
Because June 2025 is different than June 2024, Donald Trump. Motherfucker's on the borderline of dementia. Go ahead.
He is certainly not getting better with age. That's the truth.
What are you gonna say?
It's funny because
go ahead.
Everybody shits on. Well, just as a quick aside, everybody shits on Biden for his decline. But man, go back and watch a
Trump's head.
2015 Trump stump speech during his campaign, like electioneering.
It's night and day.
It's a completely different
and
person.
I
Completely different.
do not want to give any credit to Donald Trump. Fuck that orange asphalt, that piece of crap.
True.
But
Sure.
Biden
same
has
man.
declined more than Trump. But that doesn't mean Trump
Sure.
hasn't as well. Like, I feel like that's the trap people get into.
Right.
Biden has declined more than Trump. Sure, I agree with that. But Trump is not good. So go ahead. Sorry.
No. But anyway, so I think if somebody could convince him, like, so there were rumors that when he assassinated Qasem Soleimani, which was that Iranian general in, I don't remember, 2017, 2018, in Syria, there was speculation that he thought he was going to get a poll bump.
Yep. I remember
Similar
this.
to what he got after he got al-Baghdadi, which was the ISIS leader. He was like, oh, give me another terrorist that we can... Somebody just put a name down, and he fucking took him out, and then... And to me, like, the implication is there, he will... If somebody can sell him the idea that this makes him look strong, or this makes him look... This will give him a poll bump, he'll do it.
He'll do it.
I don't know. Right. That's a hard sell, putting actual U.S. troops in Iran. But I could see them
I agree.
providing assistance.
Right. I wasn't saying he was
not boots on the ground, but...
It sounds like you agree that he's more likely to do that, but still not likely at the end of the day.
Probably not.
Right.
Not
right.
boots.
But you have to put qualifications in there. But yeah.
They might. I could see them.
Oh, they'll help.
Correct. Air support.
At the very least,
stuff like that.
This administration doesn't give a shit about anyone else, especially the judiciary. So at the very least, they could be like, you know what, fuck you. We're gonna take. You see this $3 billion that was supposed to go out the door for Ukraine? This thing that you passed in a bill like a year ago? We don't give a fuck. We're gonna take that $3 billion, just give it to Israel. We don't care. Because they've done that with other things. So why wouldn't they just... All right, this money will just... We don't care about the Ukraine-Russia war. We'll just redirect it to the brand new, nice and shiny, I'm anti-war, but here's a war for you. Iran-Israel war. So...
Well, I was told by Trump himself that as president-elect, he was going to end the Russia-Ukraine war. So I'm a little disappointed, to say the least.
I think, you know what sucks, real quick, as an aside? Everyone knew that wasn't true, even people that voted for Trump, that he would end it in a day. And he still wins. He still wins.
I know.
This is why, and by the way, a little admin note for this channel. The last video we posted got a ton of views.
It did.
I have no idea why, but it was probably because there's a lot of interest in how Democrats communicate to people these days, because that's the heart of what I'm about to just bitch about right now.
Sure.
We already did that. We already did that like a week and a half ago. So I'll just go watch that back again. But
oh, you don't want to... Seemed like you were about to lean into it. I was ready for you to lean into it.
No, because we already talked about it. I'm just going to drive myself insane. I don't... Whatever, man. You just stick to actual things going on. And
so I'm excited to be... Because it feels like he's losing a lot of political capital, even amongst his most ardent supporters at this point.
Trump is? What the fuck? How?
You don't think so?
I'm not going to say I don't think so, but go ahead and sell me on it. Sell me, baby.
I think you have a whole mess of conservatives who are conservative, who aren't necessarily MAGA, who plugged their nose and voted for Trump again.
No. Okay, keep going. I'm back.
And they're realizing now the bullshit, even more so than the first term.
Even if I granted that you're right, really, after January 6th in the first term, you plugged your nose. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, I can't get past that, man. I can't even let you finish that because that's crazy, man.
Wait, and sure.
The same people that might say, like, I plugged my nose and voted for him, but, like, I'm really happy about him crushing these, like, non-violent protests. It's like January 6th. You don't give a shit. It's just... Yeah. And look, we live in the age of hypocrisy.
Just to be clear,
so we know what it is.
With you.
But yeah, I know you do because we live in the age of hypocrisy and we're not assholes, all right? It's that simple. But it just feels
I'll
like
say
there's so
this.
many assholes out there. Go ahead.
I'll say this. I know a lot of very reasonable people in my day-to-day sphere of just like human contact that are very, did I say reasonable? I think I already did. They're
Yes.
very reasonable.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, despite January 6th, they voted for Trump in 24. 100%. And I don't know what that is. I think January 6th should be a red line for fucking anybody, which is nuts that it's been as minimized as it has been, particularly amongst the right. But, yeah, man, somehow they've been sold a bill where Joe Biden's sins were great enough that we could look past it. Well, to them, it would be the system held. Yeah, there was a little bit of a riot, but the system held and Joe Biden became right. So, like, what's the big deal? That's basically what it boils down to for me, as far as my perception of what these people are believing, if that makes sense. Right, because the system held.
Yeah, but you could look that person in the face and say the system held after the first term, but now the second term, everyone's even more gassed up. What do you think's going to happen now?
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of regret.
Like, what do you think that's going to happen now? It's going to be bad. Dude, I don't even think there's fucking regret.
It is bad.
People like that see the protests against ICE and they say, they don't give a shit. I don't even think there's regret now, but I think there might be eventually when there's enough. And look, politics and opinions do not a job make, do not put food on the table, do not make the world go round for anyone in their environment. So the only way that this goes bad, and I do think it does, is that you kill the economy enough, and then people will.
Yes.
But I think we've learned with this conversation and what we know now here in 2025 with the amount of people that didn't give a fuck about January 6th and would still vote for Trump again. They don't care until it actually comes home to roost. You've seen specific Hispanics that voted for Trump and even publicly like advocated for Trump regretting it because mass deportation didn't just involve criminal illegals, which a lot of people are saying, like, we thought it was just criminal illegals. It's like, no. Right. How do you think this shit works? All of these ICE agencies and all these places, because Stephen Miller's pulling the strings, is giving them quotas. They're giving quotas, and, like, when you're given a quota and you got to meet it, you're on a timeline, are you just going to go out and do the hard work of finding actual illegals that are harder to trace? Or are you just going to go find people that you just round up? People just round up. You know what I'm saying? You should find people you just round up. Who cares? Like, anyways.
Which Trump pulled back on that actually over this past weekend.
I know. He please. A truth doesn't mean he pulled back. But go ahead.
A truth.
He truthed, didn't he? Is that what you were saying? Or sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sure. I think there was also like he was asked a question by a journalist or something or other.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems like he's gotten phone calls, I would imagine, from big companies that understand that running through farm fields is going to have a large downstream effect. I'm saying to take, illegals out. Hitting the farm fields, hitting certain aspects of the economy rather than just criminals has a way different implication for the average American than Trump realizes it. It seems like, at least.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or have I lost you?
100%. No.
Okay. I guess we'll see. I don't know if a truth actually means policy, but it does seem like they're going to pull back a bit. And I think it's because powerful people are calling Trump and they're saying, what the fuck?
Yeah, and he posted, again, what I was referencing was he posted that truth where it's like, oh, people in the farm and the hotel business have been telling me that, shit is being effective.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that's kind of what he tried. I didn't see his actual media comment, but he truthed that out where it's like, oh, we're trying to just get the criminals. It's like, no, the fuck you're not, you stupid asshole. Like, there's literally a Supreme Court decision against you that you haven't even followed through on, which, by the way, is unconstitutional. They told you to do something and you're not doing it. What the fuck's going on? Why do we even have a Supreme Court? Besides the point. where they sent that Abrego Garcia guy. Still not back.
Sure.
So.
No, he is back. He's back.
What? Is he?
He is.
Oh, okay. Well, it took him a long-ass time.
They are trying him now for human trafficking among some other charges, but he is back in the U.S.
You know what? That's actually good. Like, he should be back, so that's good.
Sure. At least they're,
not giving him credit because they're fucktards.
At least it's due process.
There you go.
Well, sure. I mean,
no, we're not giving him credit.
Garcia, how many other people have just been disappeared under the radar? You know what I mean? Did you see that they were trying to send a bunch of illegals to South Sudan? It was like 20 or more.
I didn't see more details on that, but I did see that.
I think like one of them was from Sudan, and the rest they were just like, yeah, we just want to dump them here. And
you know what's funny?
Like, dude, you can't do that. You can't just dump people wherever the fuck you want.
Yeah. So did they have? Did you read any details into that? I didn't. Was there an agreement with the country? Like, what the hell was up with that? Were they South Sudanese, like, civilian, like...
No.
Like,
one person was from South Sudan. Most of them were from... Some of them were Indian. Some of them were... Most of them were from, like,
just fucking trying to drop them off, or like you said, wherever they want.
I haven't looked too much into it. I don't think there was an agreement with South Sudan, but don't quote me on that.
Well, I watched.
It's just hilarious. Like, why the fuck would you bring them there? Even if South Sudan was like, yeah, that's cool. Like, what the fuck? Right? Say you're from Central America, and now you have to like just make a living in South Sudan. Like, what the fuck?
Like, you wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb. Like, you're a Spanish white boy. What are you doing?
Well, also you don't know the language. You don't know
the
culture.
By the way, I watched a Vice documentary the other day, or maybe the other month. It was called like Capitalist Cowboys in Africa, and it was about like traveling through South Sudan as a white. Well, it wasn't about traveling through South Sudan as a white guy. There was like a point of traveling through South Sudan. They were trying to get somewhere, but like every 20, 30 kilometers, they got stopped by like police, because if you don't look like everyone else where you are, everyone's going to question you. That's how the world works. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So you drop a bunch of fucking random Hispanics off in South Sudan. Like, who are you? You're going to die. Yeah. You're going to fucking die, because everyone's going to be like, who are you? We don't give a shit about you. Get out of here. Fuck you.
It's like, what, you're supposed to hack a living now? Like,
you're homeless.
You don't know the language.
You're homeless, figure it out.
Yeah, you are begging on the streets.
You ever think to yourself,
like
this is a wild tangent for this, but you ever think to yourself, like, if someone just dropped me off and was homeless in a city, would I make it? You ever think to yourself that?
For sure. Yeah, who doesn't think about that? Could I hack it in an urban
Could you hack it? How do you come out there? In my dreams, I come out massively English, positive. I come out as the mayor at the end. But go ahead, how do you come out?
That's crazy, because I come out the president in the end. In those,
don't
for
fart
sure.
on me, this motherfucker over here. Anyway.
Did you hear? Yeah, what the?
This fucking piece of shit. It's because I gassed myself up too much. That's why he had to pass the gas. I get it.
It felt necessary.
All right, do you want to real quick?
Yeah,
you were real quick. Just talk about the fucking. Social? And look, this military parade was so stupid for so many goddamn reasons. But yeah, there were sponsors, so take it away.
Well, so I had it pulled up yesterday, and I was kind of doing yard work. So I was just listening to the feed essentially, and there was an announcer who was sort of walking you through sort of the history of the Army and Revolutionary War, blah blah blah, like going through the eras. And some of it was actually interesting. I'm not gonna lie. There was a point where,
so that's fair.
Yeah, right, because that's the whole premise of this affair is 250th. Right, we all know it's for Trump's birthday and his ego, but officially it's for the Army's 250th
nobody would ever claim
anniversary.
they were in the Army. So true. Go ahead.
Wow, that's not okay. We're just gonna okay. So in between, I can't remember. It was like between like Korea and Vietnam. There was like a slight pause in sort of the whatever script he was reading, and he goes, "Sponsored by Coinbase." And I'm just doing yard work, and I just busted out laughing because just how the fuck is that real, man? This is an official government event, right? Like,
wait, first of all, you were doing yard work while listening to the parade?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Correct. That's
holy
correct.
Shit! What? So you weren't watching it; you were just listening to it, and you thought you would glean like what did you think you were gleaning from it? You just wanted to hear it? Like what was the deal there?
It was purely curiosity. I didn't know what the event was gonna be like, and I didn't want to actually watch it because it's a parade. Parades are fucking boring. So I was like, whatever. I'm doing busy work out in the yard, like.
I can just see you out there.
You know, it's just background shit.
Hear that ad and be like, the corruption is you just have to laugh. You know what I'm saying?
I did.
You just like
I did.
This is so on brand, but so like out of bounds at the same time.
Like, I was putting down mulch, and I just had to stop for a minute and just laugh out loud to myself like a crazy person. Oh,
be like, this isn't shocking.
Sponsored by Coinbase.
Yo, and you know, along these lines, let me ask you this: do you ever think to yourself?
It got worse.
Especially since it sounds like you have more. I have some, but you have more people in your day-to-day life that might like be pro-Trump still. You ever think to yourself, how could you even possibly be pro-Trump 100%, knowing that he dropped a meme coin right before his inauguration? So basically, what I'm trying to say is like, do you ever think to yourself that one fact, not just that, there's other things that's so damning that you think to yourself, you're just like, how could anybody say that Trump is only out for the American people, knowing that this is true? Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yes.
Go ahead. You were about to say something, so go ahead.
No, 100%. I cannot agree with that sentiment more. Like, there are...
Were you going to say they don't care, though? Is that what you're going to say?
No, they don't know it. They don't know it, man. You know what I hear from people who are MAGA around me? I still... What was this? Maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. And somebody who I know for a fact is pro-MAGA. And he makes comments. I don't actually, like, explicitly engage, because if I were to honestly have a conversation with this guy, I would not.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's
I work
be
with
good
him.
Faith. We've talked about
There's
this,
no reason for... I don't even want to... Right, I just nod.
Or actually at work, fuck it. We're just here to
crazy.
work. No doubt. Go ahead.
Well, it's not to say I don't have those conversations, but I have to trust that you're good faith. If you're not...
Right.
It's not worth it. Regardless, he brought up the fucking litter boxes in bathroom. And I just, like... It's so hard for me to bite my tongue there. Because, like, bro,
you're just like, is this 2018?
Thing, right?
Are we 2018 right now?
Right? Like, not only is that fake news, that was fake news years
ago, man. Who gives a shit?
There's no way this guy knows that Donnie Boy launched a fucking meme coin before he got elected. I bet you this guy doesn't even know what an NFT is. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, no doubt. There's plenty of those people. Yeah, no doubt.
And I think... Of them that they're disconnected from the obvious corruption that the rest of us see. And I don't know how. But they know about litter boxes in public schools, allegedly.
Dude, it's the same thing when I hear someone like Aaron Rodgers, who used to be my favorite athlete of all time. In 2025, when even coming out of his mouth, if the word is shut down, lockdown, COVID, or Fauci, I roll my eyes. My eyes go backwards. I can see the back of my brain. That's my eyes all the way. And I just feel like that's the same thing that happens to you when you hear that shit. You're just like, your eyes are just like... You can't even see anything anymore. You're just like, what are we doing here? Do we ever get over things? Do we ever acknowledge that things might be false? Or acknowledge that things have gotten better? No, we can never fucking do that. Let's say that was true, that there was litter boxes 5 years ago. They're not true anymore. Like, we can't even do that. Go ahead, sorry.
The COVID vax shit kills me the most, though, because to have lived through just the panic about it, and to hear the predictions of just millions are going to drop dead from this, and then literally nothing happening, and then to still be talking about it after all those predictions just fell flat on their face, blows my fucking
You mean millions will die from the vaccine, correct? Is that what you meant?
Yes.
So dumb, man. So fucking dumb.
It's like the, I forget his name, Ray Camp might have been his name.
I don't know,
but it was this guy.
But it's a turd burglar.
It was this evangelical. Was it his name?
Sure.
I don't think that's correct because I googled that and I'm getting nothing. But it was essentially this evangelical who had an access to a very large nest egg, whatever it was. He had a big sum of money, and he was convinced of a very particular day that the rapture was going to happen. And he put out billboards and caught a lot of media attention, And the day came and went, and literally nothing fucking happened. And he made another prediction for years down the road, 2 more times, and still retained a following. It's like, how are you people still here?
It's
You panicked and you pearl clutched and you were wrong about the big moment several times, and you're still somehow caught up in this conversation. Like, you're
it's too
just
easy to
fucking...
say that they don't critically think. I think that's too easy. What is it? I just think that they hope and wish so much that somehow it just misses every single filter that any normal person or me and you have, to where like they have such a hope and wish and a determination to believe this thing that not being true would be so devastating that it's not a possibility. That's how these people retain a following. That's the only way I can think of it. It's these people that are so fucking dedicated that they've already given up every single thing in pursuit of this. So even if the first one goes wrong, we're going to stick to it and we're going to glide with it and we're going to ride with it till we die, because it's what we are now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because of an identity.
Yeah, sure. I try to make it real colorful and
motivator.
entertaining, this fucking idiot.
Sorry.
But yes. So it's fine. No, you're right. You're 100%
Just
right.
crazy to me. It's so it's so
guy.
hard for me to... I agree, as I have that impulse of just rolling my fucking eyes whenever somebody brings up, like, whenever I hear somebody talk about on a popular podcast of being canceled these days. It's just like, dude, this rhetoric is so fucking tired.
You know what?
And the fact that I can hear you saying it means you are not canceled. What are we doing?
Correct. And you know what's worse than someone bringing that up? The fact that nobody pushes back on it, because these people are usually in friendly spaces to where they can just say like they were canceled. And not to slander the hosts of any of these places that entertain this in the way that they like say like, yeah, and agree that they were canceled, but they never push back. They just kind of like roll past it. They just allow these people to say they were canceled. And they never say like, what does that mean? It's kind of like when someone says like they said this, it's like, who's they? Who the fuck is they, bro? Like, is they in the room with us? Are the people that canceled you in the room with us right now? Like, I don't understand what's happening. So yes, that's very fucking annoying, and it's in the same vein as anybody saying Fauci. You're just like, shut the fuck up.
Fauci, I can't.
Like, the man that's 5'2" and served his country for 40 years in healthcare. Yes, he wanted to. It's just like, you people need. Again, it goes back to the main conversation. It's like, how do people get this way? What makes them get this way? Why would they be so gassed up about something that's easily disprovable? I don't know. And it's the only thing you can ever come up with. It's just, you're so invested and you're so believed in something to the point where you've already cut off even like normal relationships in your life. So at that point, if that changes or the date doesn't happen, who cares? Like, the next date is still valid. The next thing is still valid. Whatever.
Right, because to lose faith in the whole thing would be to mean to have faith in nothing. Like, for them, if they fall out and if they get disillusioned entirely, they literally have nothing. There is nothing left.
To me, there is a certain kind of person that puts such stock in the identity that they choose in that way, to the point where that investment cuts off normal relationships in life, and to like diverge from that would be identity suicide, which is not acceptable for these people. It's going to be identity or bust, the way that they get so involved. And it's sad as fuck, but because folks out there, you should know that, we got a couple fat weaklings talking on this podcast, but even these fat weaklings, I don't see it as a weakness to be dynamic with your beliefs and to take in certain things and allow those things to change your mind. Like, that's not bad. I don't understand how these people who get so... Well, no, I do understand. I keep saying I don't, but because we've talked about it, it's like these people get focused on what they believe to the point that it's detrimental, and now they can't leave that identity. But the way that you should be like open to things proof evidence-wise that might change your... Because it could. It could. Like, don't get so married. It's so fucking weird that people get so married to something. That shit is weird to me. Like, I'm going to be forever a natural skeptic to my core, and that just doesn't jive with me. Yeah.
Yeah, there was always a sentiment from Christopher Hitchens that I think I appreciate a lot, and it's, and I don't think it's unique to him, but he definitely comes to mind. But it's something of the idea of you start with the facts and you let that lead you to your belief. You don't start with your belief and then amend facts to fit what you want to be true.
That's the way I say it. Yeah.
Like it's I get that some people treat things as sacred, but you just have to take the world for what it is. And if you can't do that, then we end up with the Donald Trumps of the world, where it's just this weird, like, emotional knee-jerk reaction to just a world that seems incompatible with what they thought America was. You know what I mean?
It's just an unscientific knee-jerk reaction because it's not scientific.
Protectionism. Right? Like
yes, correct. I was going to say it's not science. If you look at it from an economic perspective, let's take immigration, and you cut. I saw some right wingers over the weekend saying they want to stop illegal and legal immigration. It's like if you cut immigration, you're going to hurt the economy. That's a fact. So that's like a scientific. Like it's not scientific at all. You're just taking a completely. You're taking a path that is rooted in no sort of proof or evidence or any set of facts. And that is, and human beings have done this time and time again in history, and it's always fucking bad. It's bad.
You're so bought into the way the world should be that you just believe whatever confirms that for you. And you go along with anybody that's going to just sort of cater to what you think about.
And if I may say, that's the beauty of even back in the 1700s. Now, it's fucking a long time ago, and things weren't perfect because we had the 3/5, whatever the fuck, and other things. But even back then, I think there was enough of an enlightenment of realization to how things should govern that would actually work for a majority, knowing that human beings suck. Okay, how can we do that? Let's just divide out the power a bunch. Let's divide the power out to make sure that people can check each other. That's the only way. Because you could get the most perfect person in history, Jesus Christ, and you could make him king and say, you have this power, you're king. The minute that he's gone and the next king takes power and he's not perfect, you're fucked. So how do you work with that? How do you work with the fact that human beings in a lineage eventually are fucked? You got to spread that power out to where things can be checked and balanced. You don't have that. Go ahead.
It is a little ironic, too, because the American, like, the whole American enterprise initially, early on, I believe was referred to as the American experiment, because it was kind of the brainchild of the Enlightenment. It was this attempt at separating the state from religion and finding a framework of just secular society. So it's all the more frustrating that this is where the American experiment is at. This is our stage of the experiment, and it's getting a little tough. And we're falling prey to the exact same impulses that prompted the exodus to America to begin with. So,
if you want, bottom line is, if you want to keep your freedom, you have to extend that freedom to others in your society. And if you don't, you won't keep your freedoms. You won't. They might not come for you at first. I don't know what this quote is. There's some Nazi quote where it's like, they didn't come for the socialists. They didn't come, whatever the fuck.
Right.
I sat alone and whatever.
First they came for the communists, and I said nothing because I was not a communist. Then they
but
came
if you vote, and I'm not saying like you got to like stand up and do things, but yeah, if you don't at least like actively vote and try to stifle that kind of shit, then your freedoms are going to be limited too. Fuck you.
Yeah. I will say.
I only voted to limit colored people's freedoms. It's like, yeah, but then once you gave them that power, go ahead.
Wow.
We're looking at you, David Duke. Sorry, go ahead.
God bless. Just to keep the tradition of tapping into
Yeah.
Trump's True Social
No,
at the
I
end of
hate
each
that
podcast.
tradition, but let's
Real
do
quick,
it.
just
You
real
fucking
quick, I know, blah, blah, blah.
scumbag.
We've been on here long enough, but I just want to point out, because I was
I'm pulling
scrolling
it up.
here.
Which one? Go ahead.
So this was 2 days ago.
Oh God, I have to scroll that far
and
down.
it has to do with our second topic.
This guy has
and
18 truths a night on the toilet. 2 days ago is gonna be forever down. All right, hang on. My internet's tricky. I see. Thank you, Army. Is this fucking because truth is down? That's no truth. Truth is down. Literally, True Social is down.
I'm on it right now.
Oh, all right. Well,
I just refreshed the page. I'm
it's
good.
down for
all right,
me.
how about I read it?
Just read it. Go ahead.
This was 2 days ago, and this is President Peacemaker. He certainly.
Oh, he's nothing but peace.
2 months ago, and this was the day that Israel sent out the fucking missiles, right? 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance, which is kind of him claiming like some responsibility for this attack, right? Because he said, I gave them 60-day ultimatum.
Keep going. Yep. Agreed.
Today is 61. Israel sent missiles there. Like, are you not kind of implicating your fucking self by saying that, Mr. Peacemaker? So that's crazy to me. But
he's a war maker.
Tweeted not even that far after it. We had nothing to do with Iran, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you're just fucking talking out of both sides.
Dude, you know what Trump embodies? That fucking meme from It's Always Sunny where it's like, I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top.
Right.
Shit is so fucking ridiculous, man. All right, maybe it's my computer that's down. But you know what? My computer is actively rejecting cancer, and cancer is truthsocial.com. So, I don't blame it.
I'm actually
we
also
appreciate
having...
you. We appreciate you.
I'm also having trouble now too, so I will escape from this website. But I just wanted to maintain that tradition, just a quick little piece.
We'll put a lid on
God
this garbage. We'll put a lid on this garbage, but yeah, appreciate you.
Love that. Send it. Put it out at the curb.